and an extremely warm welcome to the Tuesday edition of English English. This is a very special edition of English English indeed. Why? Because we are streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Twitter. We're streaming live. Yeah? And alive, but live in directo, yeah? No decimos live, sino live. We're streaming live on Facebook and we're streaming live on Twitch. I can give you the accounts so you can choose. You can choose how you want to watch this show. The show where we tear words apart. Okay, on YouTube, our channel is Aprende Inglés con Vaughan. On Facebook and Twitter, you need to go to @Grupo Vaughan. And if you're a big Twitch fan, then your channel is Vaughan. I can't read my writing. What is it? Vaughan time. Vaughan time. Okay, Vaughan time. Empezamos bien. Okay, today's word of the day looks like this. Here is my word map. Now you can actually see it. There it is. The word flop. Exactly. Flop. Now, the word flop can work as a noun, como sustantivo, and it can work as a verb. Now, the main meaning of the word flop as a noun is fiasco. Un fiasco. Right? Un fracaso. Monumental. Yeah, I just really hope this show, this live streaming on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch, and on one of the other ones, YouTube, there we go, is not going to be a flop. Bien, vamos con unos cuantos ejemplos. For example, you can say something was a total flop, right? It was a total flop, or it was a real flop. Yeah? Cuando fue un gran fracaso, un fracaso enorme, we say it was a real flop. It was a total flop. It was a right flop. Yeah, we use the word right as an adjective sometimes to mean total, complete. It was a right flop. Sí, lo vemos en otros contextos. Your room, tu habitación, your room is a right mess. Yeah? It's a right mess. It's really messy. Everything's all over the place. So we use right sometimes as a synonym for complete. Okay? It was a right flop. It was a massive flop. Fue un fracaso monumental. It was a huge flop. Otro sinónimo de massive. A massive flop or a huge flop. Uno que me gusta mucho a mí, it was a complete and utter flop. Now there you have that lovely, explosive P at the end of the word. Yeah, a flop. Muy bien. Hay otras formas de expresar lo mismo. Let's have a look at some synonyms of the word flop. For example, we have the same word you have in Spanish. You say fiasco, we say a fiasco. Okay, with our beautiful English accent, a fiasco. It was a complete and utter fiasco. It was a complete and utter flop. But hay más. It was a complete and utter disaster. A complete and utter debacle. Yeah? A complete and utter washout. It was awful. It was a washout or a non-starter. Now, when do we use the word flop? What can be a flop? Well, let's have a look at some examples here. A marketing campaign. You think the marketing campaign's going to be brilliant, and then in the end, it turns out to be, resulta ser, acaba siendo, it turns out to be a complete and utter flop. The marketing campaign was a flop. Yeah? The opposite would be a success, a roaring success. Un éxito rugiendo, decimos nosotros, yeah? We talk about a roaring lion, a roaring fire, or a roaring success. So that's the antithesis, the complete opposite of a massive flop, a roaring success. So a marketing campaign can be a complete and utter flop. So can the new product you're trying to market, yeah? That new product, that new type of cereal, yeah? Cereales en inglés, ojo, es singular. Sí, cuando hablamos de los cereales que comemos, yeah? When you have your cereal for breakfast, we express it in the singular, right? So imagine we make cereal here and we do this amazing marketing campaign, but the marketing campaign turns out, see, con la S al final, turns out to be a complete and utter flop. And because the marketing campaign was a complete and utter flop, aquí cuando digo utter no aporta nada más que complete. Es como completo y total. Yeah? A complete and utter, con dos T's. Uter se escribe. Right? Because the marketing campaign was a complete and utter flop, the new product, the new type of cereal was also a complete and utter flop. I love doing that into the microphone. Flop. Good. Other things that can be flops. Any kind of new release. A release is often the term we use for lanzamiento, right? Lanzamiento de un disco, por ejemplo, o de una película. Yeah, the new release. The new release was a complete and utter flop. Fue un verdadero fracaso, right? The new album, the new CD was a complete and utter flop. The film, yeah, the latest, whoever it is, film, we would say the latest Tom Cruise film, yeah, la última película de Tom Cruise, we say Tom Cruise, ojo, right? The latest Tom Cruise film was a flop, por ejemplo, right? We wouldn't say Tom Cruise's film. Yeah, it's a Tom Cruise film, okay? I'm getting lots of noise. I can hear a Hoover somewhere. I can hear a Hoover in the earphones here. So, un Hoover es un aspirador. Okay, muy bien. If a film is a flop or a play, una obra de teatro is a flop, right? We would describe it as a box office flop, right? A box office flop. Yeah, box office is la taquilla, right? So the new play, the new Tom Cruise film was a box office flop. Fue un fracaso de taquilla. Okay? Muy bien. So that's basically the idea of flop as a fiasco, or un fiasco, como decís vosotros, right? But there are other types of flop as well. For example, you can do a belly flop, right? You can do a belly flop. This is what kids do, teenagers, very often at public swimming pools. They like to jump in and do a belly flop. So when they jump in, they land on their belly, on their stomach. They land, they hit the water, right? On their stomach. Yeah, their stomach. Su barriga, right? Es como darse un panzazo, ¿puede ser, Nacho? Sí. Bien, thank you, Nacho. Nacho's always there to give a helping hand when I'm in trouble with the language. Yeah, sí, darse un panzazo, to do a belly flop. Now, I've done a belly flop once in my life, and it was so painful, I decided never to do a belly flop again. Ouch. All right. Bien. Then, now when I was researching this program, cuando lo estaba investigando, cuando lo estaba preparando, when I was researching it, I found a term I was not familiar with, and that is a cow flop. A cow flop is another word for a cow pat. A cow pat's the English or British term. The American term is a cow patty. And a cow flop, a cow pat and a cow patty basically mean una torta de vaca, plus a cow poo. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, if you're from the country like I am, when you're going for a walk in the field, you often come across cow flops or cow pats. Yeah, you just have to be very careful not to tread in them, because on the top they're nice and crusty, but underneath is all gooey. Yuck. All right, so that's a cow flop. Muy bien. Then, of course, we have a very important accessory for going to the beach or going to the swimming pool, and that is flip-flops. Flip-flops are, it's a type of sandal, basically. Es un tipo de chancla. Sí, son chanclas, yeah? They're also called thongs, because you basically, I can show you this on camera, these are your toes, right? Your toes are here. They have one thong, which is a thin strip between your big toe, sí, el dedo de pie, grande, and the second toe. And it goes like that. And that's how it stays on, right? For me, I hate them because my toes are too close together. So I find them, me resultan, I find them, les encuentro, decimos nosotros, I find them uncomfortable. That's flip-flops. I hate flip-flops. Now, Rob is sitting next to Nacho. Rob. Hello, Rob. You can see Rob just in that window there, if you're tuning into our live stream. Rob, do you like flip-flops? Are you a flip-flop man? Right. Rob says he likes flip-flops. So Rob gives flip-flops the thumbs up. I give flip-flops the thumbs down. No me gustan. Now, probably the most famous flop of all time was a flop invented by an American athlete, un atleta americano, and that is the Fosbury Flop, right? The Fosbury Flop was invented, it was created by an American athlete called Dick Fosbury, and he created it in around the 1968 Olympics, and he revolutionized the sport of high jumping, right? When you have to jump up and over a bar. So he revolutionized the way high jumping or competitive high jumping happened, because he instead of jumping forwards, head first, he twisted and jumped backwards. Yeah, so instead of jumping into the bar, he jumped up and over it and twisted. Se torció, right at the top. And that's called the Fosbury Flop. And of course, he won the gold medal because he was able to jump 3-4 centimeters higher than the other high jumpers who were using the traditional high jumping technique. And that's the Fosbury Flop. So it was a big revolution in the world of athletics. Okay, now from flop we get the lovely adjective floppy. Yeah, floppy. Now, floppy means basically blando. Blando or flexible or lacio. Right? You can have floppy. My arms feel really floppy. I feel floppy. Es que me siento lacio. Right? I have no energy. I feel really floppy today. Now, for people who have a fringe, un flequillo, it's not my case, I have no fringe. But for people who have a long fringe, you can have a floppy fringe, right? So it's kind of just hanging down loosely over your forehead. Yeah? Por encima de la frente. Muy bien. You can have a floppy hat. Yeah, a hat which has a floppy brim to it. It means flexible here. And of course, you used to have floppy discs. Yeah, que eran los disquetes. Yeah, they have become obsolete. We don't find floppy discs anymore. We don't need floppy discs because everything is kept in the cloud. Whatever that means. Bien. Vamos con el uso de la palabra flop como verbo. Right? To flop. It has a number of different meanings, but I think you can already guess a couple of them. To flop means fracasar. So a play, una obra de teatro, a play can flop. A new film, a new release, the new Tom Cruise, sin apóstrofo S, the new Tom Cruise film flopped. Y ahí tenemos el pasado del verbo. The verb to flop is totally regular. So we say flop, every day I flop, yesterday I flopped. Con dos P's, duplicamos la P, ¿vale? Flopped, no decimos flopped, sino flopped, okay? And I've flopped loads of times this week, all right? So we have flop, flopped, flopped. So a film can flop, the play can flop, the new release can flop, the marketing campaign flopped, etc., etc. To flop can also mean to hang loosely. So your arms can flop like this. They flop by your sides. Yeah, they dangle. They hang loosely. Similarly, del mismo modo, your fringe, el flequillo, can flop over your forehead. Okay? We mentioned the adjective before. Your fringe can be floppy. It's floppy, so it's flopping over your forehead. All right? Now, fish. Fish can flop. Now, fish don't flop when they're swimming in the river. Fish don't flop when they're swimming. No, swimming. Yeah, when they're swimming in the sea, fish don't flop. Fish only flop when they're out of their natural habitat, when they're out of the water. When you capture a fish and you put it in a bucket, en un cubo, or in a container, in a bucket, a container or a bucket, the fish is still alive, right? And so it's desperately trying to breathe, finds it very difficult to breathe out of the water, surprisingly, but that's the case, isn't it? And it's está dando coletazos. Yeah, it's moving its tail. So the fish is flopping. Now you see, you get all this extra visual effects here from tuning into our live stream, because you can see that's the fish. The tail is flopping. You don't get that with the radio, but I'm doing my best to describe it for all of you who cannot tune into the live stream right now. Oh, we have some people. Awesome. Anna, thank you very much. I forgot to read these. I've not done this before, so thank you. Rob's going, por favor. Read the thingy, Bob. Anna, awesome. Floppy. Grupo, that's Rob. Infinity World, good morning, everybody. Teresa has written in saying flopping is what some sports players do in order to try to mislead the referees. Maybe they do. Yeah, I don't know. Usually that's when they throw them. We would say they throw themselves. They throw themselves to the ground deliberately. Yeah, it's play acting, isn't it? Okay, Mechim has lost the connection. I'm sorry about that. But we're still broadcasting, as Grupo Baugan says. Muy bien. I'll try and read out some more if I remember in the next 5 minutes or so. Bien. ¿Qué más? Now, there's nothing I like more than flopping. Or flopping around. To flop or flop around is synonymous with the expression to lounge around. And this is what we like to do on a Sunday afternoon, a lot of us, yeah, to flop around. Or sometimes we like to flop around or flop all day. So to flop around means to do pretty much nothing. You're just sitting on the sofa. In fact, to flop can also mean to sit down heavily. Oh, I need to flop down for 5 minutes. I need to flop on the sofa for 5 minutes. I need to flop into a chair, into the armchair. Ahí cambiamos de preposición. Normalmente, si es un sillón. I need to flop into the armchair. I need to flop on the sofa. I need to flop down on the sofa for 5 minutes. I need a rest. Yeah, tengo que relajarme. So to dejarse caer. Yeah, to sit down heavily. To flop. Okay, and the synonym there, of course, is to lounge around. There is nothing better than flopping around all day. Yeah. So when you feel floppy, que no es exactamente lo mismo. When you feel floppy, you feel weak. Yeah, you have no energy. When you feel floppy, it's often nice to flop down on the sofa. It's nice to flop into a nice, comfortable ojo. Ojo que no decimos confortable or comfortable. It's comfortable. Yeah? 3 syllables. Syllables, not syllabuses. Syllables. Yeah? 3 syllables. Comfortable. So we emphasize the first one. Comfortable. Se escribe confortable, pero la OR desaparece, desde luego, y decimos comfortable. So it's lovely. Nothing beats flopping into a nice, comfortable armchair. Muy bien. It's time to recap. We've been looking at the word flop. Now, here's my word map. If you can read it, my writing is not always as good and clear as it should be, but I will be publishing this on my Twitter later on today. And we look at all the different meanings, you know, as a noun, the adjective down here, floppy. Here we have the verb, and all the verbs down here. Okay, this is basically my script for all these shows, and I publish these about 10 o'clock most nights on my Twitter, which you can follow on @RBROWNSWEAT. So that's at @RBrownSweat. And then you can move it around and share it with all your friends. Because a lot of teachers, I know, write into me. A lot of primary school teachers, a lot of secondary school teachers, and some university teachers write in and say that they use these word maps in their classes, which is pretty cool. Makes me happy anyway. Muy bien. Bien, repasamos rápidamente. A flop como sustantivo is a fiasco, a failure. Yeah? And we talk about a complete and utter flop. Fue un fracaso total. It was a complete and utter flop. You can do a belly flop. Sí, puedes darte un panzazo. I like that word, panzazo. Rob, do you like that word? Panzazo. It's cool, isn't it? Un panzazo. A belly flop. Yeah, your belly is your tummy, your stomach. So you do a belly flop and it hurts, I can tell you. Ouch, you would say. Hemos mencionado también flip-flops. Flip-flops are those horrible sandals that some people love and I personally detest. I find them very uncomfortable. Why? Because of the thong between your big toe and your second toe. Hemos visto también el adjetivo floppy. You feel floppy cuando te sientes un poco lacio. You can wear a floppy brimmed hat as well. And then, of course, as a verb, a film can flop, a new product can flop, puede fracasar. Si ese es uno de los significados, ¿no? Del verbo to flop. You can flop into a chair. I just hope that today my very first live streaming on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Facebook has not been too much of a flop. Rob, Nacho, you guys are stars for making all of this possible. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I shall see you again very soon. In fact, tomorrow, if you're still here, for some more English. All the best. Take care. Ciao.